All right, so welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be tackling a pretty big one,
Oh, yeah.
A Brief History of Time by Stephen Hawking.
It's a classic.
It is a classic.
It really
I
is.
mean, published back in 1988,
Mm-hmm.
and it's still making people think about,
Yeah,
all the big questions.
for sure. Like,
How did it all begin, and
Yeah.
will it ever end?
Yeah, exactly. Like, is there even an end? Could it all just stop?
Right.
So,
Yeah, so I think one of the reasons why A Brief History of Time has remained
yeah.
so popular and relevant all these years is because Hawking, he had this really unique way of explaining these incredibly complex ideas
Yeah.
about the universe
Uh,
and making them feel
yeah.
almost understandable.
You really did.
It's like having a conversation with the universe itself.
It really is. And that's, I think, one of the things that really drew me to the book is just how approachable it is, even when it's dealing with things like,
Black holes and the Big Bang. So speaking of big concepts, Hawking talks about time as not just a straight line, but as another dimension, like space. I mean, does that mean that, like, time travel could be a thing?
well, I don't know if we'll be hopping in a DeLorean anytime soon,
Yeah.
but, thinking of time as a dimension, it really opens up some pretty wild possibilities.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, if time is a dimension, then that means that the past, present, and future could
Right.
all be existing at the same time. And around like really dense objects like black holes, time actually gets warped and distorted.
Oh, like it bends.
Yeah, almost like if you imagine like a bowling ball on a rubber sheet,
That's
kind of like that.
Oh, okay, I see. So it's like the gravity is so strong
Yeah,
that it's literally bending time.
exactly. Yeah, and that's where things start to get really
Okay,
interesting.
so black holes, you have to admit, are pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
And Hawking described them as these cosmic traps
Oh,
where even light can't escape.
yeah.
How does that even work?
Well, imagine a place where gravity is so unbelievably strong that it pulls everything and everything.
Like everything.
Everything, even light.
Wow.
And it warps space-time so much that nothing can get back out.
So it's just like,
Yeah, kind of like a bottomless pit in the fabric of the universe.
whoa. Okay, and then he goes on to talk about the no boundary proposal, which I gotta say kind of blew my mind.
Yeah, it's a big one.
So is he saying that the universe might not even have like a beginning or an end as we think of them?
Exactly, yeah. The no boundary proposal, it really challenges the way we traditionally think about the Big Bang as being this starting point.
Hmm.
Instead, what Hawking is proposing is that the universe is finite, meaning it's limited,
Mhm.
but it's also unbounded, meaning there are no edges.
So there are no edges, but it is still finite.
Yeah. So it's kind of like if you imagine the surface of a sphere, right?
Yeah.
You can travel in any direction, you can keep going and going, but you're never going to find an edge. That's kind of how he envisioned the universe.
So it's just this constant existence. That's a huge idea to wrap your head around.
It really is.
It makes you really question everything you thought you knew.
Yeah, and that's what I love about A Brief History of Time. It's not just about presenting theory. It's about making us contemplate these really deep mysteries of the universe.
And I like that he does it with like a little bit of humor too.
Yeah, he actually
Like
does.
he even makes a joke about how equations scare people off, which is why he only included, Emencio in the whole book.
That's so Hawking, right?
Is
He really wanted to make sure that people could connect with the material.
Yeah, and he understood that. Like,
Yeah.
not everyone's a physicist.
Right.
It's just, it's amazing to think about. Like, he wrote this groundbreaking book while battling ALS.
I know.
And if he could do that, facing those challenges, it just really shows you what human potential is capable of.
It's incredibly inspiring. A Brief History of Time, it was translated into, I think, over 40 languages.
Yeah.
So, it proves that our fascination with the cosmos, it goes beyond just borders and cultures.
Yeah, it's universal.
It really is.
So to wrap things up here, what would you say is the one thing you hope our listeners take away from A Brief History of Time?
I think more than anything, I just hope it sparks a little bit of curiosity in them. You don't need a PhD in physics to be able to appreciate the beauty and the wonder of the universe. Hawking's book is really just an invitation to think bigger, to question everything, and to never stop exploring.
It really is.
And if the universe might truly have no beginning
Wait.
and no end, then where do we fit into all of this? What does it all mean? That's something for you to think about.
That is something to think about. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And we'll see you next time. For another deep dive into the unknown.